UFC 266 arguably had the greatest featherweight fight of all time. Is one of the wildest cards, and also this card, I mean, Blake, we saw the proof that BJJ Jiu-Jitsu is fake, and you could beat it just by thinking about getting out of it. Because I think that's the only way Volkanovski got out of those submission attempts. That's the only way, right? There's no technique. He was like, nah, I'm just going to get out of it. He just decided to.
Yeah, I don't know, man. Either that or he's just built different.
Hey, shoot, man. I think Volkanovski just really might be built different. But ladies and gentlemen, welcome to UFC Talk 60. Ooh, nice round number. I mean, first time in a few weeks here. It's been a little busy. Had some stuff come up, but we're back, and we're back just in time to break down a hell of a card, and one that's going to be hard to top this year. I mean, we always have UFC 268, but so far, this is one of the better cards of the year, hands down. Of course, I'm your host, Ross Allen, joined like I said by the UFC, or just MMA, fourth line correspondent, Blake Campbell. Blake, how are we feeling coming off of this fan-frickin-tastic card?
Feeling good, man. I was like I think that's one of those cards where if you're a casual fan and you just happen to be at a friend's house and watch it, you just kind of get pulled into it, That Ortega and Volkanovski fight, absolutely unreal. The Shevchenko finish, Lawler and Diaz going at it for the first, 2.5 rounds. I mean, it was all around really great card. And even the prelims, before the main card got started were awesome. So, I mean, I feel very satisfied for the most part. And yeah, just happy that there's, UFC still going strong.
Oh yeah, it is. I was glad I was able to catch this. Luckily, my streaming site there was working at the stadium internet, because I was at a baseball game while trying to watch this. So, hey, if you're trying to watch, like, if you're at any sort of like game while you're trying to watch something else, baseball's perfect for this.
Yeah, definitely.
Right, plenty of stops there. But we got some stuff to get into, including the biggest winners of the night. Is Nick Diaz going to fight again? Is Valentina Shevchenko ever going to have competition? And also, is Alexander Volkanovski the greatest featherweight fighter of all time? Of course, we've got some stuff, talking Kelvin Gastelum and Sean O'Malley. Also, the mess that is the bantamweight title picture. Of course, then we're going to take a look at UFC Vegas 38, and we're going to cap things off with the nay of the weekend. Got a bit of a good one with that one. But first off, for everything Fourth and Long, check out thefourthandlong.com. Everything MMA related, that's thefourthandlong.com/MMA. A couple interviews have recently came out between Raymond Lawler and Jared Lean, Mean, Sammy Machine, Melton. They both have fights coming up here in just a few weeks, October 23rd. So make sure to check out those interviews. 2 undefeated fighters and 2 guys that are already on their way to just becoming some absolute studs inside that cage. And also, shout out to, gotta give though he's not here, we have to give him his due, Blake. Jalen has successfully defended his Suck My Pick title. While doing so, he became the first of us to have a perfect card. The first perfect card in Fourth Long history. So I hate it, but also at the same time, I have to respect at least a little bit, at least a little bit.
Yeah, you did okay, I guess.
Oh, good job, buddy. But UFC 266, Blake, and like we asked with every card, it might be a redundant question, but I always gotta see, did the bangers hit?
Absolutely. I mean, let's refresh everyone's memory.
Another hit, man.
We chose
just keeps
Blades
coming.
and Rosenstruik. We chose Hooker and Hack Parast. I don't know how to say that.
That's right.
And then Diaz versus Lawler. All of those fights I think were pretty good, even though Hooker and Nasrat didn't go completely as what people expected, kind of the stand and bang war. Mm-hmm. I still think it was pretty entertaining, and just the fact that everything surrounding that fight, with the performance they still were able to put on both of them. I mean, especially Hooker, you got to respect it.
Yeah. Hooker looked great. I mean, with pretty much an all around kind of domination there. is what he had.
Yeah, and I'd say the weakest of them, I'd say, was probably the Blades and Rosenstruik fight.
Yeah,
but
I mean, a very bold prediction going with the Cursed Blades fight. A lot of people might disagree with you.
I was hoping he would go Alistair Overeem mode again, and just start.
I think that might just been a one-time thing at this point.
Yeah.
But at the same time, part of me wants to see Cursed Blades get his hands on the title just to piss off the entire MMA community.
He's one of those laying, kind of, I don't want to say prey, but he doesn't do a lot of action on the ground, and you'd like to see him kind of at least be a little bit more aggressive, I guess.
Doesn't do a lot of action, but he sure as hell is dominant. So
yeah,
if you're winning fights,
he easily won that fight.
Right? Yeah, he wasn't in trouble at all, really.
It's just crazy. Was it that knee or whatever that cut him open and just made him look like an alien?
Yeah.
Yeah, because Rosenstruik hit him with something that just freaking squished his freaking face up.
Yeah, that one was a bit of a tough one there. But of course the bangers hit, and then the things off. Here are my biggest winners of the card. I mean, the first one has to be Semi the Jedi, Matthew Semmelsberger, because he's a reason why you need to watch the early prelims, because he comes out following up a loss. He lands what I think is the fourth quickest KO of his division, a 15-second knockout. That's all it took. 15 seconds. Fight was over. Ridiculous, man. That was... that's some good stuff there. That also, I mean...
That was Nick Diaz's teammate, too, Martin Sano.
Oh. Not a good night for them, man.
But his other teammate did pretty good, though, the Nick Maximov.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, he had the good night. And I mean, 1 for 3 on the night. I guess that's not too bad in baseball terms. Paying 333. My next win here. I mean, if we throw it back to, I think it was February when I made this prediction, Blake. So I still have some time. I said in 12 months, Chris Daukaus is going to be a top 5 fighter in the UFC heavyweight division. He comes out and he absolutely starches his opponent here. It's I mean, he got out in pretty much little to no time, and he looked real great against Shamil. I will refrain from saying his last name because it will not come out correctly. He will be known as Shamil. But I gotta say, man, the bearded Chris Daukaus is a scary person.
Yeah, he's got some power, man. And it's going to be interesting, his next fight that got announced against the Black Beast.
That's crazy. That's a big step up. Competition, man.
Yeah.
I think it's the UFC matchmakers were going crazy this weekend. I think they knocked it out of the park. I think this is a really fun one because if you're looking from Chris Daukaus, if he gets a win here, then he's up there. He's up there with some of the top contenders. But at the same time, if he loses, I don't think that hurts him too much because he would lose to the greatest knockout artist in UFC heavyweight history, in just about UFC history.
Right.
So
I mean, he's in a decent position right now.
Yeah. I think he's looking good in my prediction because I have until next February for him to be within the top 5. It's definitely doable, especially if he beats Derek Lewis.
Yeah, I mean, that's a big test for him. So we'll see if... And you don't really want to lose to Derek Lewis because there's usually only one way you lose to him, unless you're Francis. So.
Yeah, you lose one way. That's you're taking a nap.
Yep. Bring the blanket, bring the pillow, bring the toothpaste and toothbrush.
A little bit of white noise.
Yeah, maybe like a little, standing fan.
Ooh, a little standing fan. I mean, I don't know. Do you think what do you think Chris Daukaus would prefer? Would be more of a rain kind of thing? Maybe. Well, he's from like Philadelphia, right? Maybe city traffic.
Maybe just people yelling obscenities.
Oh, that's a good one right there. Maybe it's just Eagles fans being a bunch Eagles fans rioting. How's that one?
Does this sounds pretty normal around those parts.
Does he just have the Philly special on loop?
Just a picture of Philly cheesesteak.
Oh, dude. I love
framed.
Philly cheesesteak tastes great. I love that stuff.
Oh, yeah. Can't go wrong. Some Chipotle sauce.
Come on. Cheese, bell peppers, onions, and steak.
Chipotle ranch.
Ooh, I'm getting too hungry, man. Let's move on. Chris Daukaus is looking great, though. Now, of course, I want to talk about Dan Hooker because he had It was, I mean, given everything, I mean, it was fantastic that both guys were able to fight, given everything that was going on just in fight week. Shout out to City Kickboxing for moving to, they're going to be moving to the States here, so that's a really cool transition for him. I mean, you heard the stuff coming from Izzy, from Dan. It's not great what's going on there, so at least they're actually able to train. And I mean, City Kickboxing, arguably the best gym in the world right now, given that they have two dominant champions and a handful of contenders there as well. So they're really coming up, and so it's gonna be good for move for them here. And now Hooker, he goes out. He doesn't have like a amazing like stand up performance or stand up war, but I think this might have been the best Dan Hooker's looked ever in all aspects of MMA. He put on a very well rounded fight, and that's exciting to see for his future.
Yeah, he completely outclassed Nasrat, but yeah, I mean, not the typical stand and bang war that you see from Hooker, but like you said,
Maybe he really learned from Chandler.
He really mixed everything up super well. So I mean, you love to see it.
You think he probably learned from that Michael Chandler fight? Maybe not just stand and bang with everyone at the top of that division.
Yeah, I still can't believe how that ended, man. That's so crazy to me.
That's still one hell of a knockout, dude. That's still something. But so those are my biggest winners here. One thing we want to move into next is maybe a bit of a touchy subject here in the MMA community, because I know this loss hurt all of us. Like when I saw that, it was such a good fight, but then the ending, it didn't feel right. So of course Nick Diaz and Robbie Lawler is what I'm talking about. I mean, Nick Diaz, Nick threw like what? 100 shot, like 100 punches or 100 strikes in the first round.
It was like over 140 in the first round, something insane.
What he thinks he's Colby Covington now?
I don't know, but that first round pace was absolutely unreal.
Well, he started off like looking really slow, and then it crescendoed into just something where it's just constant movement, and it was almost unreal. And Robbie Lawler was there, and he was walking down Nick for a lot of that too. But then the ending fight sequence came when Nick Diaz, it looked like he broke his apparently he broke his nose. He was grabbing his knee for a second, but I think that's just like hold himself up. I got worried that something happened there. But Blake, the question is, did Nick Diaz quit?
No, I mean, it basically, he just kind of said he had enough, but he took some good shots in there. You know, I think it was smart by him. He probably realized like, hey, there's 2.5 more rounds of this left. Why take more unnecessary damage? My first fight back after 6 years off. So, I mean, he may have, you know, quote unquote quit, but I think it was the right decision at that moment. And, you know, either he's going to come back and be motivated by this, or, you know, that might have let him know, hey, that's probably good enough.
So you think he comes back? Because the crazy thing here is that if he won this fight, especially how he won this fight, I mean, maybe he wouldn't deserve it, but we all know the UFC, he would have been put near title contention. Where do you think he goes from here, though?
I'm not sure.
Is he still able to call out like some bigger names in the division, or
I don't think he has the right to call anyone out. I think it's just kind of going to be.
Or is it going to be to be called out?
I see a lot of people throwing out Cerrone's name, but is he going to be able to make 170? Like that's the biggest question. Because what was the reasoning? Because the biggest thing for me, like the biggest unknown,
185.5 too.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. The biggest unknown for me is why did this fight get moved up to 185? Why was there only 2 days notice, basically?
It was
for it being.
I want answers for that.
So, until if we ever get answers to that question, it's really hard to kind of speculate and see and say yes, he's going to be back, or no, he's not going to be back. But if you're judging by his word, where he said, if I lose this fight, I want to come back ASAP, then you would think that, yeah, maybe he does want to get another fight. And I think he said he has a couple fights left on his contract, so maybe he does fight that out. But yeah, I don't know if there's any lingering issues from this fight, or, you know, the training camp prior. So we'll have to kind of just wait and see. But no, I do not think he is going to be able to call anyone out. I think it's kind of just whoever gets lined up for him.
Do you want to see him fight again?
I mean, if he's going to look better than he did last fight, and I'm not saying he looked
He didn't look
super
bad.
bad.
Well, he was throwing everything. He was just, his defense was not there.
And he's never been a guy that's been known for power shots. He's always been a guy that's been volume and supreme cardio. And it looked like this was the first fight where it looked like this wasn't supreme cardio. Usually he's way able to outlast and absorb whatever's coming at him. But this fight, that first kick he threw was just weird. I don't know. It looked a little lazy. It's interesting, but it just looked a little lazy.
And the weird thing is, like, you remember, like, the build-up to this, that he went through a practice camp and made 170 pounds. They posted on Instagram. They said he made it. Were they lying? Or was...
Well, because he looked cut in the pictures leading up to that, too. So
damn good on Instagram, at least. Take that with a grain of salt.
And it's not like you're going to, show up to work and when you're getting paid and you have a guy literally trying to take your head off.
So that's,
you're not going to show up
like,
to the
maybe
fight.
Maybe a health thing had to have happened then.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like there's nothing that you would do. There's nothing that you wouldn't do to get ready for that performance. And there had to have been something, holding him back, whether it be substances, whether it be health issues. I don't know. And I'm not the right person to speculate. So I'm going to let that kind of either come out to be found out one day, or just we'll never freaking know, which it probably is going to be the latter.
Yeah. I mean, dude, if we can find out like every secret of like every like MMA secret, I'd be so happy. But there's I think MMA more than any other sport, there's so many like stories that just never get answered.
Yeah. And I think it's kind of tactical in some senses, but it also is just like, you don't have the rules with like NFL where you got to put out an injury report and it has to be accurate and all that kind of jazz.
It's weird when it comes to that. Of course, all this is just speculation, but at the end of the day, it's really curious of what happened there. Nick Diaz probably fight again just because he's a draw. He's a certified draw. It's just gonna be interesting to see who he does it against. Like you said, I agree. Like, I don't think he's in the power to really call out someone, at least not a name. But the UFC gives him something, or if a fighter calls him out, then, like say Jorge Masvidal calls him out, yeah, they're gonna make that fight 100%.
I don't think Jorge is on the table.
Well, hypothetically, like, just say if Jorge for some reason called out Nick Diaz, that fight's happening. If Nick Diaz calls out Jorge Masvidal, that fight's not happening. Also, I just don't think Nick would. So, curious to see what
he's even come out and said, like, I don't want to, fight my brother's fights.
Yeah, exactly.
So it's mostly, I think, has to do with that. Not that he doesn't.
Jorge was just the first name to come to my head because he's one of the most popular fighters.
But yeah, like a Cerrone fight, I wouldn't be opposed to that. I mean, I think they're both kind of, in similar ages and whatnot. So it would be interesting to see that go down.
Could give Cowboy the kind of right off into the sunset he's looking for. So we can see it from there. But the next one I wanted to get into is the co-main. That was, of course, Valentina Shevchenko versus Lauren Murphy. And it just was weird because I just got the feeling like if you just... It was such a dominating fight. It was a slow, methodically paced fight that wasn't close the whole time. I just look at the numbers here. So Valentina Shevchenko, of course, 3 takedowns to 0. Total strikes landed 132 to 19. Significant strikes 98 to 11. That's not only ridiculous, but what happened here is I could kind of see, at least through the first 3 rounds, I could totally understand why this was a boring fight. It's not like... I didn't think Valentina was going for the finish, really. It looks almost like she was purposely drawing this out, almost like playing with her food in a sense. And it was kind of scary, seeing what she was doing. She was just so methodical in anything she wanted to do. She did.
Yeah, I mean, I think... Lauren just, the numbers that you put out are just crazy, staggering, like it just seemed like she wasn't even trying to hurt Valentina. And Valentina, you could tell the power difference was there. You could tell the strength difference was there. The speed difference was just crazy.
It's just the IQ, man. The fight IQ of Valentina Shevchenko.
She throws better than some of these guys that we watch on these cards, man. She throws with a purpose, with vicious and violent intent. And I mean, once that fourth round came around, that was something beautiful to watch, because she just took her out when she landed like 7 or 8 punch combo.
Right when Lauren was walking back, it was that was ridiculous, dude.
Yeah, it was exactly what I expected. It was just, obviously people expect it sooner, but I mean, I wasn't completely dissatisfied with how long it took. I thought it was pretty cool.
What do you think, dude? I don't believe Valentina Shevchenko was looking for the finish in the first 3 rounds. I
think she knew she didn't have to. I think she knew, hey, let's drag her into championship waters. Let's see what happens. Let's kind of just feel it out, get the range going. And she was just peppering her with strikes. And then come in the 4th round, it was just a whole new level of intensity and just execution and accuracy, and just, yeah, man.
In a way,
she's phenomenal.
In a way, Valentina is kind of an asshole for that. Straight up, just playing.
I don't know. I don't think so. I don't think she was playing with it at all.
I think she was playing with Lauren Murphy. I think she just wanted to see what she could do. Because, like, if you heard a post-fight press conference with her talk about how she enjoys and she could recognize as soon as she breaks her opponent, I think she was legitimately having fun beating up on Lauren Murphy and didn't want to end.
Well, I'm not disputing that. I just don't know if she was necessarily playing with her. I think she's just levels ahead of her, like several levels ahead of her. And I mean, it's plain to the eyes to see.
I just think if she wanted to finish in like the first or second round, there were plenty of opportunities for that. And they were there if she didn't take them. I just think there's something to that. And all I know is Valentina Shevchenko is horrifying. She scares the hell out of me. Like, just the way she talks, the way she fights, just her stare. She is one of the scariest people on planet Earth, hands down. It's creepy.
She's got that killer vibe, that killer instinct. She is an assassin. She is an assassin for sure. She's just absolutely, scary is the only word you can describe. I would not want to see her in a dark alley.
Hey, dude, I'm just curling up in the ball, man. I'll ask her to make it quick. Good. That's about it. But the crazy thing is, Valentina Shevchenko now, I believe it's 6 consecutive title defenses. So, of course, that is the most consecutive title defenses among current UFC champions. In 5th place, or right behind her, is Amanda Nunes with 5, and that's with the bantamweight title. Kamaru Usman with 4, Israel Adesanya with 3. And now I believe what she just either tied or broke was it Ronda Rousey's title defense record at the division. And what's next for her? I mean, we talked about this a while ago in her fight earlier this year, and we were both on the same page where we just kind of want to see her stack rubies, stack bodies, and just have a good time with this. Are we still kind of in that same mindset? Because the only people she could fight is Amanda Nunes. And personally, I'm not sure if I want to see that fight right now.
No, I mean, keep fighting in her division. 125 is at least in a little bit better shape of 145 and kind of 135.
Is there a 145?
Nunes has kind of already ran through all of 35 besides like maybe 1 or 2. But yeah, I mean, you could tell that they were kind of setting up Calvillo this weekend with that Andrade fight, but she was just kind of, Andrade has just got too much power.
Well, Andrade is fantastic in every fight but a title fight is what it seems like.
Yeah. Well, I mean, she beat Rose.
Yeah. But she's got that. She'll never contend for the strawweight, I don't think. Or, excuse me, the flyweight.
No, I mean, Shevchenko's already taken her out, and there's not too much interest in the rematch. I mean, that was a pretty easy dub for Shevchenko.
Yeah, Andrade, she probably has to just go back to strawweight then, huh?
Yeah, well, that's the plan, too. She was already calling out Weili Zhang and the winner of Zhang and Rose. But I think it would be almost a better fight for her to fight like J-Check or something like that.
I would love J-Check.
I mean, I know they've already fought, but I'd like to see it again now that
Yeah.
Andrade has kind of
Right.
got a little bit of some heat under her name.
Maybe a Carla Esparza right there.
Yeah, that too. Even I don't know if they fought yet or not. I have to look that up. But
Mm-hmm.
yeah, that would be a good one too. But poor Esparza, she kind of got leapfrogged for that title.
Yeah, that was jacked up, man. I still disagree with it. But the hard part is, I mean, if you look through the rankings for the flyweight, Jessica Andrade got her ass whooped. Chukagian, ass whooped. Murphy, ass whooped. Maia, ass whooped. Calvillo, not good. Jordan Colwood, no. Evil Eye, ass whooped. It like all of this, there's just no one.
Yeah.
It's quite insane just how far ahead Shevchenko is from the rest of the division.
Yeah, but I mean, I'm sure she likes rubies, so why not keep stacking it?
Hey, be the first. It takes 8 rubies to fill it out. She could be the first one. Hell, if we're at the pace of how many title fights she's getting in a year, she could do both of the ones right there. 16 rubies.
Oh yeah,
just set records no one will ever be able to set or match.
Yeah, I mean, why not?
Yeah, it's awesome. But that's going to take us into the main event of the evening, which was the ridiculous fight between Brian Ortega and Alexander Volkanovski. And my fight of the year so far, like I felt that fight night. We're a few days removed now, and I'm still feeling that. And honestly, in my opinion, this was the greatest featherweight fight of all time. Just between, if we're being honest, it was besides the few submission attempts in the 3rd round and the 5th round, if you just take out those parts, it's pretty much just an ass whooping by Volkanovski here. But Brian Ortega went first that guillotine, and then the triangle. Volkanovski's head was purple. I don't know how he got out of it. And you heard in his post-fight press conference too that he's like, "Oh man, I'm about to lose the belt." But what a ridiculous fight this one, man. I was losing my mind watching this.
Yeah, it was definitely up there. I mean, I'd have to really like sit and go through all the options to declare best featherweight fight of all time. But I mean, yeah, I mean, like I started the show out with, if you're a casual fan and this was like one of your first cards watching, that Volkanovski and Ortega fight probably is going to hook you in because it's just an unbelievable display of heart, talent, just tenacity, everything, man. Like never quitting, even when your whole face is being just collapsed on, and yeah, man, it's way too impressive to even put into words what those guys went through on Saturday night.
I mean, Ortega and Volkanovski earn so much respect, not only from the fans, but from each other.
Because when you heard that Ortega got a broken orbital, right?
Yeah, that was done from the headbutt there in like the 2nd round, right?
Absolutely crazy. I don't know what it caused from. I just saw on Twitter that he had a broken orbital.
It looked like a accidental head collision right there.
Yeah.
And so obviously that kind of screwed him, but all I'm saying is that after this, like the first couple of title defenses, like when he beat Holloway and then beat him again, there's a lot of controversy in that. Maybe not the first one. He won the first one, but controversy in the second one for sure.
Oh yeah.
But now with this, I am a huge fan of Volkanovski, and he really is up there with already the top 4 featherweight fighters of all time. I put them in my top 4. I wouldn't rank them right now, but I mean, you have Aldo, you got Jose Aldo, Max Holloway, Alexander Volkanovski, and Conor McGregor.
Yeah, that's fair.
Yeah, so he's already up there with some of the greatest of all time, and with another 1 to 2 title defenses, which he's very much capable of, he could be the greatest featherweight of all time by the time he retires. No doubt. No doubt.
I mean, I think you need a little bit more than a couple, but yeah, I mean, especially just based on his the toughness of his opponents, I would say, like the strength of his schedule. I just look at the people he's taken out: Aldo, Mendez, Holloway, arguably twice.
Yeah.
Ortega. He's just killing all the guys at the top. So, but the thing is,
that's Max a 3rd time.
Yeah, the thing that's kind of helping him though is how Max is like the gatekeeper a little bit and kind of just swatting down all these other contenders, like Cater and now it's
Right.
going to be Yair Rodriguez. I don't see Yair beating Max, but it's
No.
going to be a fun fight.
The only person I see beat Max is Volk. Really.
Well, I mean, it's already happened, but I think
Sure.
if they fight a third time, I'm taking Max.
I'm taking Max just because I don't know. All I know is Volkanovski just the pressure, his toughness, his striking is fantastic. His ground game is good. His BJJ defense is pretty underrated, and it took a huge rise in stock with this one, and just his ability to just say like, "Hey man, I don't really feel like being choked out anymore. I think I'm gonna get out of this." It it's just ridiculous, man. And where do you think it goes from here? Like he was talking about fighting at 155, and I I hate that idea. I think he's terribly outmatched there, and he's perfect at the 145, and should just keep defending it and wait for the winner of Max versus Yair. I think that's the only answer for him.
Yeah, I think either the winner of Max versus Yair or just keep fighting top contenders.
Mm-hmm. And
But
then
but yeah, that would be the most deserving for sure.
what about Brian Ortega though? Does he just have to move back down the ladder for a second? And maybe fight the loser of Holloway versus Rodriguez?
Yeah, it's going to be interesting with him. I know I saw a report come out today that Zabit is going to be coming back. So, I mean,
He's
maybe
actually coming back.
possibly. We'll see.
Dude,
But I mean,
I
that's
don't
another
know with
fight that
this
would be
guy.
crazy. Yeah, I mean, like I said,
Right.
we'll see about it. But
A ticket with a handful of salt that he's coming back.
yeah.
I hope so. I really hope so. He's fantastic. Obviously, I just want to see guys. I mean, all I know, man, this is just an absolutely ridiculous fight. I'm really excited for what comes next. Because this division is in good hands, and I mean, just a damn good fight here. But a few things to talk about before we move to UFC Vegas 38. Santos versus Walker. First thing is kind of something we talked about last time on the show in UFC Talk 59. Talk about Kelvin Gastelum or I mean maybe it's 58. In one of the previous ones, we talked about possibly Kelvin Gastelum moving back down to 170. He has come out and said that he's committing to that. He'll return a little bit into next year. He's going to take a lot of time off, and he's going to try to get back down to 170 with the help of a dietitian. Is this the right move for him, and do you think he'll be successful in doing so?
It's definitely interesting. We'll see if he can make the weight.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it's going to be a fresh new challenge for him, even though he's, done this before. But maybe that the change of scenery is going to be nice for him. He might have a little bit more favorable matchups. And we already know that he's one of the top guys in no matter what weight class.
Mm-hmm.
Just kind of depends on, I guess, his mindset, really.
Yeah, straight up. And then your boy. So it's a bit of weird stuff with Sugar Sean, okay? Because it looks like Brian Keller puts out a tweet saying that he said yes. We all assumed that he was getting the Sugar fight. And now he's not getting the Sugar fight necessarily. And now Sean O'Malley's putting on tweets calling out Dominic Cruz for UFC 269. What's going on here? Can you decide for this? Because he's kind of your guy here.
I mean, he's trying to get a big fight.
Mm-hmm.
He's trying to get up those rankings now. But yeah, the Keller thing was weird. I don't really know what to make of that because I was seeing him and his coach go back and forth, Tim Welch,
Mm-hmm.
Sean's coach. And it just seemed like there was just, shit being talked, but not really anything too concrete being made. And Sean can only accept the fights he's sent. I don't know if he was sent a contract for that. I don't know what happens behind closed doors.
Man. It was weird.
But I mean, you can't fault. I mean, everyone gives him crap for fighting cans, and then now he's trying to call out Dom Cruz. He's trying to call out Piotr Jan. He's trying to call out all these guys, and people are like, oh, you didn't take the Brian Keller fight. Like, make up your minds, people. Like, what do you want him to do?
I respect him trying to call it Dom. It's not like I have a problem with him not fighting Brian Kelleher. It was just a confusing thing because it looked almost like the fight was all but.
Well, I mean, Kelleher just looks thirsty, dude. That's really all it looks like to me. Is Kelleher just looks super thirsty.
Kelleher looks like he's begging for a Conor McGregor fight right now.
Basically, I mean, and all fair,
I like him too.
props to him.
It's like, but
But
he's
it's
coming out
just
saying
like,
like,
dude, say it once and then
mhm. but
leave
he's
it.
coming out and saying stuff like on the interview saying like, I'm the perfect guy because I'm unranked. I'm not good. I'm slow. I'm like, dude, that's not really how you promote a fight.
Yeah, it's strange,
It's
man.
an
He's
interesting
looking really
tactic.
desperate. He's looking really desperate. But I mean, who knows? Maybe Sean will bless him and knock his ass out.
I don't know.
Put him
That's
on
a
the highlight reel.
just matchup wise. I think that's a really intriguing fight. But I'd rather see him Dom Cruz for sure.
It'd be way better fight to see Dom Cruz. And
Yep.
Dom Cruz, against Casey Kenny still looked really good. So
Yes, and in Dom Cruz, his kind of, I mean, Sean, I mean, he'll go for, if he fights him, he'll go from a walking punching bag that doesn't move his head to someone that moves 1,000 times a second
yeah, it'd be a good test.
for the
I mean,
striking.
so would Kelleher, but
Yeah, for
I
two
mean,
different
if you
reasons
could
though.
fight an number 11 ranked bantamweight, or you can fight another unranked guy, obviously you're going to go with the number 11 guy. That's going to put you in the better position going
Mm-hmm.
forward,
100%.
and that's going to give you a lot of hype, beating an ex champ,
Mhm.
legend of the sport. I mean, it's
Arguably,
just
I mean, the
no brainer.
greatest bantamweight fighter of all time to this point.
Potentially, I don't think anyone's really done anything to
No,
surpass him yet.
no.
It's been two. I mean, the only person that could have was probably Henry Cejudo, but he only defended it like what, twice, two or
Yeah,
three times.
yeah. He's mostly a flyweight guy there.
I think
You could,
Moraes and Dom Cruz, right, were his only defenses.
and you can go and say TJ, but he's a cheating son of a bitch, and so Dominic Cruz wasn't. So you got that going for us. So that's what I'm going with here. And speaking of bantamweights, let's talk about the absolute mess that is the bantamweight title picture. Because, of course, everyone remembers the huge controversy of how Aljamain Sterling got the belt. And now he goes out and he's barred from fighting per UFC doctors due to the lingering neck issue. And Aljo was looking to push his fight back if possible anyway due to hardships he was facing in training camp due to this injury. And so now they go ahead and they get what I think is still a totally fine move. Put Piotr Yan in a interim title fight. You gotta keep that title fight going. We get someone else to pull in here, and I mean there was thoughts of Rob Font, but I mean Rob Font got the fight with Jose Aldo, which I think is a banger of a fight. That's some really really good stuff. And I wasn't sold on Rob Font getting a title shot just yet. I think this is a really good fight for either guy, Jose and Rob. You can't give it to TJ because he's coming off a leg surgery. He needs some time to recover. Cory Sandhagen's coming off a loss, but what do you think of this matchup? And what do you think about the mess here? Do you blame Aljo in this one, or how are you feeling?
I mean, if it's the doctors keeping him out, then no, I don't blame him at all. I like the Sandhagen versus Yan fight. I'm super intrigued by that. I mean, Jan's going to have a lot to deal with Sandhagen's reach advantage.
Probably his hardest opponent yet to date for sure.
Yeah, Sandhagen just kind of gets a blessing, out of nowhere. Even when he kind of got screwed in that TJ fight, in my opinion. I mean, I know a lot of people think that TJ won. I don't know. I think it's kind of split half and half, really. But it's just cool to see because he's high level. He's a top guy. He's top probably 2 or 3 guy. So it's going to be a fantastic fight no matter what. Like you said, TJ's injured, so he can't go. Jose Aldo and Rob Font, I agree with you. I think that's going to solidify Rob Font. If he wins and beats Aldo, then yeah, sign him up. He's pretty much the number 2 contender behind TJ. And then, I guess it would be 3 depending who wins between Yan and Sandhagen. And then Aljo's just kind of sitting in the wings. I guess he's still going to be champion, huh? Like they're not going to strip him.
No, for whatever reason.
Aljo's losing a lot of hype though, man. It kind of sucks from my feel for the guy, but yeah, hopefully, there's no complications with what he's going through and he can come back.
What sucks is this whole situation, like he hasn't made things better for himself necessarily with public perception, but this whole ordeal wasn't his fault. It was all Jan's fault. Jan caused this entire mess that we're in today.
But didn't Aljamain choose to get neck surgery? Like that
Yeah,
that wasn't related to the
that.
But
Yeah.
yes, he but Jan put himself in the position of getting this mess of a title picture. Yes,
Jan deserves equal blame here in this situation. If for however mad you're getting at Aljo, I think you should be about just as mad at Jan for this, or annoyed.
Well, yeah, because I mean,
it was all
he's
avoidable.
just stupid.
Yeah.
Yeah. If he just didn't throw that stupid shot.
Then goes out and pulls his opponent's head, a knee guy. The most illegal shot I've ever seen in my life.
Yeah, he thought he was in the streets of Russia or something.
Straight up. Yeah, Poon in his head going, finish him.
Something, man.
That was something else. But let's go ahead and finish things off with a little bit of preview of UFC Vegas 38. This is actually what I like this because this is, if you take a look at this, it's a really solid fight night. I mean, it's going to be hard to follow up a card that was Volkanovski versus Ortega. But Santos versus Walker is a hell of a main event here, and you got some good fights on here. Like, some of the stuff I'm looking forward to here is
the whole main card.
Right, that too. Valentina Shevchenko versus Casey O'Neill. I mean, Jared Flash Gordon, type of Aspen Ladd. She gets her return fight since tearing her ACL. So that's going to be a fun one here. And you take a look at the top guys. Big Mouth is back. A lot to prove. You got the younger brother of one of the fastest heavyweights, or has one of the guys rising the quickest in the heavyweight division. And I'm just, I don't know what to expect in this main event, man. Santos and Walker are going, just pull out everything. It's going to be nothing but action, and someone's probably getting their lights put out. And so I'm excited. But with all that being said, Blake's bangers for UFC Vegas 38. Blake, what do you got in store for us this week? I'm excited to see what you got here.
Going to start things off in the middleweight division with Misha Serkinov. Don't know if I said that right. Versus Krzysztof Jotko.
Okay.
I think that this should be a solid fight just based on, just their stature. They're 6'2", 6'1". Both kind of in their prime in terms of ages, 34, 32. That's decent age. Equal reach, 77 inches. I think it's going to be a stand-up war, hopefully, and someone's lights are going to get put out. The second fight I have going on for the bangers is going to be Alex Cowboy Oliveira versus Nico Price.
That's a good fight.
There's really not much else that needs to be said with those two guys. If you're a casual, you should even know about these guys.
And also, if you're a casual watching this, you're going to be blessed.
Yes, it should be high pace,
violence,
frenetic, and just crazy.
There's going to be blood.
And then the last banger, I got to put the boy Big Mouth up in there. We're going to go Kevin Holland versus Kyle Daukaus. I think this could be a good chance for Kevin to get another finish on his record. I'm not too impressed by Kyle Daukaus. His brother is super good. I just don't think that he's very good.
Yep. Looks like his brother took most of the talent, you think?
Yeah.
Hey, Kyle could be good. He's shown flashes. Hopefully this is it's nothing against Kyle Daukaus here, but I'm more or less hoping for a bounce back for Kevin Holland because he's exciting. He's a really enjoyable fighter to watch, and he probably doesn't have to worry about getting wrestle effed as hard in this fight as well.
No, this should be a stand-up war too.
But if Blake, what I really want to see, of course, Kevin Holland slug. We've seen him practicing his wrestling, like with DC and guys like that.
Yeah, what if Holland goes for some takedowns?
Dude, what if Holland starts off the fight with the double leg?
just a blast double to start things off.
Yes.
I'm here for it.
Hear me out, Blake. 30-second finish. Immediate shoot for the double leg with ground and pound from Kevin Holland to finish things.
It'd be fantastic. That'd be a huge improvement.
Oh, that would blow the minds of every MMA analyst and fan. I really do think.
And I mean, if he has an impressive performance, he can start calling out names like possibly a Darren Till, guys like that towards the top of the ladder. Maybe even who's Shabazian. There's a lot of guys that are going to be within reach, and especially because they've kind of had their fall. I mean, basically all of those guys that I mentioned got beat up by Derek Brunson. So you can call it one of those guys.
I'm excited for that. And then now we get to just predictions for the main event, Blake. who you rolling with in this pretty important light heavyweight matchup here?
I'm going with Thiago Santos. I think he's just a little bit more polished, and Johnny Walker kind of leaves himself open a lot. So I'm going to take Thiago Santos by I'll say second round TKO.
I think this goes a little longer. I'll say it makes it to the main event rounds, but like you said, I think Walker, he's gonna be he's a stud. He's a certified stud at light heavyweight. I like the experience of Thiago Santos more, and I think he's just. I mean, he's one of the first guys that really pushed John Jones to his limits, and that was with no knees, if we remember that. So I like Santos in this one, and man, I think it's back up there, but I don't think Walker's just going to get like blown out of the water. I don't think even if he loses here, it shouldn't hurt him too much because he's a fantastic fighter. I just like I said, I just like the veteran experience of Santos in this one. That's what I'm rolling with, but who knows, because Walker could just land a spinning heel kick from nowhere and get finished. This fight could be over in an instant.
It's going to be a good one.
It's going to be a damn good one, Blake. But before I cap things off here, it's time for the Nene of the Week. And what I believe got Nene the hardest is kind of like what I alluded to in my intro here, Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. Because akin to when Derek Lewis gets taken down, he sort of just gets back up, you know? There's no technique to it. He just chooses to get back up. Same thing for Alexander Volkanovski. He's getting choked out. It's in as tight tight and as perfect as you can get. And everyone knows how good Brian Ortega's jiu-jitsu is. But you know, Volkanovski, I'm going to get out of this. Doesn't make sense, man. I really feel like the Gracies are just crying with how this went. Like, they have to be hurting a little bit, man. Just see, like, a perfect technique and just, no. Yeah, I'm good. I'm going to get out of this now, you know?
Yeah, it's crazy, man. I don't understand how it happened, but props to Volkanovski, and you know, I'm sure Ortega's going to be back at some point. But
I hope Ortega's back. I mean, but just on the last note here for Ortega, his last two title fights, he's pretty much gotten handled for most of it, if not all of it. But both times his stock's risen. It's impressive.
He's kind of got that Nate Diaz effect almost, you know. He's able to take a beating, but crowd still loves him, and he puts on a great performance, puts on a great show, so you can't really hate the guy.
No. And I think Ortega still he still has plenty of time to get a title as well. I still think he has a really good shot. I mean, he was 5 seconds away from getting it on Saturday.
Yeah.
Because Volk was almost out, man. He was so close to being out, but man, I don't know what to say. But, ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for joining us here on episode 60 of UFC Talk. Man, it was nice to be back. It felt good. Like, it feels normal again, you know, to get back to this.
Oh, yeah, it feels great.
It feels damn good. And
always love talking about, you know, UFC/MMA in general with the boy.
With the boy, not only the boy here, but the boys and even the women's listening to this show as well. I think at least
all five of you appreciate it.
I think according to at least our audio stats, it's around 3%, and I doubt none of that is MMA. Maybe one or two. I know my girlfriend listens, so shout out to you. I think she might be the only one that I know of.
3%. So is, man, I don't know what's 3%.
I don't know. I think most of the percentage comes from our Australian football stuff too.
Sheesh. Maybe like 3 out of our 100 listeners are girls.
Maybe. Hey, but shout out to you guys, okay? What women power and that kind of stuff. Blake, but let's see here. We're going with UFC 266. Your thoughts on that card in one word or phrase?
Ballin'.
Shot calling?
Absolutely.
Ooh, okay.
It was a fire card, bro. I like that shit. That had me very entertained on Saturday evening.
It was a damn good card. It's going to take a lot to top that, but hey, UFC 268 coming soon. We will see. And of course, before I sign off, just want to give a quick thank you to our fantastic Patreon supporters, of course, for just starting at $1 a month. You become a supporter there. So go on over to patreon.com/Fourth and Long Radio to get started today. And shout out to our patrons, biggest, longest supporter, Ray Rodriguez. And for all your card collecting needs, go on over to Twitter and hit up at the Big Bat Box. A shout out to Ron Watson and Neil Wiley. Ladies and gentlemen, I know that you enjoy the hell out of 266. So please go out and enjoy a really solid fight night coming on this Saturday. And congrats to Jalen. But I don't know. Blake and I are coming for you next month. That's for sure. We're coming for you. Watch yourself.
Get my belt back.
Hey, I'm getting my belt back. That's my belt. Technically it's yours. You win it first. But that's besides the point. We'll see you next time, ladies and gentlemen.